Hi everybody. I've been debating how to sort of approach this project with y'all and what to call it. I certainly can't figure out what to call it. That's and I'm sorry about this line of glare, but it's probably just about the best I can do. I have more books in my collection than I should have, for sure. I collect books to use, and then a lot of times they don't all get used. I use a little piece here and a little piece there. And one of the things that I promised myself is to try to use more of a whole book and accomplish that. So I brought in from the library book sale in the last month or so. You all saw them in one of my live streams, but I brought in several of these books. And what I want to do today is kind of dissect one of these books, take it apart completely, show you my plans for the different parts and pieces. Oh, blast, I forgot something. I'll be right back. That it helps if you bring all of the parts and pieces of your video to the table. Anyways, I wanted to take one book, take it completely apart, give you my ideas for all the little parts that I plan to use and what I'm going to use them for. That doesn't mean I'm going to take all of these books apart today or anything like that. I just want to dissect one of them and kind of get my ideas going, your ideas going, and kind of see where we're at with all of this. One thing that I can tell you is that these particular books have gorgeous covers on one side, but the other side is pretty blank. However, my thought is to maybe take two of these covers like this, like so, and make a big journal with it. I have some big paper that I could fold and put in there. I have some brown paper I could put in there. I'm just thinking, what all I might do with this, but I'm thinking that it might be fun to take two covers and create a book. And now it does mean we'll have to finish some edges, some things like that, but I think that would be gorgeous to do that with. And there's several of them where the covers would go very nicely together, front and back. So I'm thinking that might be what I do with the printed cover. The back cover, I know for a fact that I have cut book boards in half before, and I could cut it down in half and create another type of journal using the back covers. And you can always cut these covers up. It takes a little bit of practice, and I would use a slightly heavier knife than this. I would use a big box knife to cut those in half. And sometimes I ask hubby to do that for me because he'll use a big square and get them cut right in half. But that's my thought on the covers. All of these books, let me get these three out of the way. All of these books have a really pretty piece of end paper on the inside. I think that using that as a piece of pretty red paper for doing whatever kind of artwork, you can tear it up, you can use it as a background, all kinds of things. To get these out of here, I was going to look at it a little more closely, but I think we can just cut it out. It may be glued into there as well, so we'll have to find out. Yeah, it looks like it is. A lot of books lately, it seems like, are glued into the spine as well as just stitched in. Okay, and this has some nice sturdy bookbinding tape of some sort holding it in. A screwdriver might have been a wise decision to bring to the table, but I'm doing it okay with my little plastic bone folder. But there's some very definite bookbinder's tape right along there, so there we go. And it definitely is on both sides of the book. Now, I'm not going to take these apart right this minute, just because I know that it'll be easier to store this like so. But I really think that taking 2 of the decorated covers and making a big book might be in the future. And then, like I said, this is great book board for creating other journals out of. You can cut it to whatever size you want. You could make a long, skinny book. You could use it whole. You can cut it in half. You can cut little pieces out of it to have a nice sturdy board. Book covers make really good new book covers, but don't be afraid to cut them. All right, now let's see here. So we have our lovely 2 pieces of colored paper, and I'll probably I'm thinking seriously about taking all these books apart and having all the parts and pieces done like that, because that way it will give me sort of an idea of where to go with it, and they'll be ready to use when I sit down and want to do something. These pieces of paper like this that have no decoration on them, or of course I really love the little dots and stuff on this, I will use like I use book pages. Now there's lots of ideas you can do with these. I wanted to double check, and I did coffee dye this one out of one of these books just to be sure. Don't do a huge coffee dye project until you've tested, because most of these pages in this kind of a book are coated with something. Now, back in the day when I was, 100 million years ago, when I was first doing some publishing things, they called this clay coated paper, and it was coated with a liquid type clay that allowed the printing to sit on top of the surface. It made it easier to print color prints and that kind of thing. And it does change the texture of this paper a little bit. It's not near as slick, and it took a while for the coffee to soak into the paper. But you can make coffee dyed pages with this so that you have them for your background sheets. Another thing, these pages that don't have anything of a serious interest in, like this one, there's nothing on it that really interests me, but this is perfect paper to jelly print on, or to paint on, or whatever you want to do with that. So I will put this in my box that sits right here for when I'm grabbing papers to jelly plate on. And that way I have a whole stash of full-size sheets that I can jelly plate on. Now, this is a gorgeous image. It's a big image. Not probably something I would use in a lot of my work because I tend to work real tiny. Not a big deal, but what about a really pretty envelope? Seeing as how I've been doing a lot of mail art, this would make a perfect envelope. And we may do that one day, is take some of these big images, calendar images, big images out of books, and make some mail art. I had that book upside down. I love this kind of a page for tearing up for collage. It makes me think of a coffee dyed page or of a dictionary page. So these pages I will likely coffee dye, just simply because I think I will use them more if they're coffee dyed than they are like this. I'm going to try to get to some of the other pages. Let me get down here. Okay, now that image does not interest me really at all. It really doesn't. I don't know why. It's probably a page I would put into the I will jelly plate on that page kind of thing. I love this page. This is fabulous page. And it's going to, there's more than one. So these are going to go in probably my collage fodder pages. I likely will do them in the coffee dye. I may not. I may leave them black and white, although these pages are not really white. Let me see if I can find a piece of actual white paper. Oh, here's an index card. And you can see that they have some age on them. So they're not real white, which is fine. So I may or may not coffee dye them. I'll decide afterwards. Let's get rid of those pages though so that we can get to the others. Okay, now these pages are the reason I grabbed these books so quickly. I just love these images. Having them in the book is great, but then I have to go find a book and just gather the book, and then I have to look through the book, where if I had these images just in, say, a file folder or something like that, and I probably am going to use one of these big plastic envelopes from Dollar Tree, sorry about the glare, to put these in, and I'll probably keep them kind of separated because That way I can judge what they are. The thing of it is they have a lot of paper on each one that is not of interest to me as far as the image. So what I'm thinking that I want to do with these is to go ahead and take these images off. Let me, I guess, get these others out of the way. I'll set that over there. These images in these books happen to be absolutely amazing. These are a series of Time Life gardening books, and they're gorgeous. And this is true with any book that you've grabbed for images, though. It's hard when you have everything piled up in a book and you end up with so many books, and then you have these pieces that you don't really use. So if I take all of these images out and put them in a envelope thing, which they'll fit, I have them where I can look at them, and then I can accomplish something with this. This makes great collage fodder for backgrounds, that kind of thing. These smaller pieces can be coffee dyed as well. They can be torn up. I can use them just as backgrounds on masterboards, that kind of thing. So this is one of the reasons why I want to sort of dissect these books now and try to get at least one or two of them where I'm using the parts and pieces. Let me see here. Let's get back to where we have some. Isn't that the most beautiful image? And this whole section just about is these beautiful images, but it has this extra stuff that's just, it begs to be used and gotten out of my studio in a manner that I can use it. Now, these larger images will also fit into these file folders, so it's not like I can't keep them that way. This one I'll probably keep to dissect and cut apart. But these images, like this one, they're a little big. I might someday cut that out, but likely as not, I'm thinking that if there's nothing else on this side but this, that would make a beautiful envelope. These, on the other hand, I might use some of these, but at least if they're apart, I can make that judgment. And see, this is two great big images. Now this is small enough I could cut it and use it in my collage work. That might be two. This is a beautiful image. And that would be gorgeous. Cut out and used in collage. So that's another thing. I'm going to try to start fussy cutting, or at least sort of fussy cutting some of these things out and get them ready. But then we have a lot of these pages, and frankly, that image does not excite me all that much as far as the image goes, but it would make great paper to jelly print on, or to use as backgrounds. And this is the same way. Now these sections right here, which is almost 3 inches wide, they would make some fun backgrounds for tags. Just plain white. So that is another thought, is to actually use the borders on these pages as they are or coffee dyed. I hadn't realized that they had left so much space along there. So that is something I have to think about it, because I could probably get two. This is a 3.5 by 5 index card. You could also just glue it together. Now, I probably won't, simply because I find that I want my tags a little heavier than that. But this book must be 10 inches tall, roughly. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else in here that... These would make good backgrounds in your collages, as you know, especially if you're going to paint over it. Now I'll have to go through and really look at these images, because this image I kind of like. I might use that more. I would more likely use that than some of these other ones. So that would be... Let's go find some more. Now, you notice that these are coming off real easily. That this book is not sewn. It is just glued together. So that's always nice, because if they're sewn, then you have to fight with this. It depends on what you're using a book for. If you're trying to make a journal out of it and altering a book, a sewn binding is, I think, better. This particular one, it makes it better to... that it's just cut. Oh my. And see, that's the other thing, is we need to be careful and look at both sides of the paper, because I was going to put this in the envelope pile, and I certainly don't want to with that. That will make a beautiful image in something else. I love these ladies in this book. So those are images. I probably will not put these ladies with... Where did my other images go? I probably will put these images in one file folder and this kind of an image in another place that I keep other images in. These are also gorgeous images. These will be hard to decide which image I want to use, so I'll probably keep these pages whole. I probably will not fussy cut them until I'm actually ready to use them. But these are great images, and they'll go into my image folders. And those images don't say much to me, but I really like this one. And I can see using some of this. I love images like that. And this would make fun borders as well as an image. And we're back to pages. See, these pages right here are the reason I wanted to dissect the book. I need to go ahead and use this for jelly printing or use it as collage fodder, but I just don't need to keep it in book form, because it doesn't get used well enough if I'm keeping it in book form. And there's a lot of these, and these images just really don't excite, so I will probably put most of this in my files to jelly plate on. There will be some of it I'll coffee dye, but oh, I thought these were the cutest images. Can you see those? Of course, you know, I do like bugs. So I'll be keeping these because of the bugs. And this page, I really like the shape of the lines on it. So I'll probably use that for collage for sure, because the lines will be a distraction from the words. They won't be just plain words. But I thought the bugs were cute. And these little leaf, I'll put those in a folder with for the images. I'll probably tear this off because I really don't want to keep all of that. Where's my tear ruler? And when I'm tearing these out like this, I do want to leave a good amount around the image so that if I decide I am going to tear it out, some of these earwigs are not something I like, so I don't know that I'll use that bug, but the other bugs are kind of cool. So I'll be tearing those apart. And I won't tear out the images to actually use until I go to use them, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an idea. That's another great image to make an envelope from. Oh, but it's got a beautiful rose on the other side. And while that's a big image, that might be something I fussy cut out and use as is. So, and if I did, okay, if I fussy cut that out, look at the pretty image that's at the top. That would be cool in collage, in background collage. Oh, and then we have more smaller images that will need to go with our drawing images from the back. Well, where did they go? I'll be putting these with these because they'll be perfect for using in a book somewhere. There again, that's probably too big to really use for me. So it'll make a good sized envelope. And very pretty one. I'll have to try to do that for a future Mail Art Monday. I'll make envelopes out of some of these pages. And see, these images don't really, and while that would make a cool background, it will also make a very pretty envelope. So we'll work on that. I really like some of these images. And see, here's the thing. Okay, if that's the image I'm going to keep, I don't want to keep this part anymore. It's so much stuff that I'm keeping that I've got to start finding a way to separate. And I'll probably keep this and put that in my collage fodder bin. And that's a gorgeous large flower. This one's kind of out of focus as far as using it. I'll have to think about that. I may keep that one for the image, or I may turn it into an envelope. I'm not sure yet. I love that image right there, so I'll definitely be keeping that one. Even though it's got a gorgeous one on the other side. Okay, so if I keep this little image, okay, and that is the image that I really like, I got all of this color on this other side. I'll put that in my collage fodder, because this image is the one that speaks to me, and this speaks to me for colors. I'd turn it into an envelope, except that I really like this image. So by doing this right now, I really think that it's going to help me use these things a little better. Okay, so now that is beautiful collage fodder. I can tear it up and use it as color background. And I can use that piece. This is the image I'm going to keep. And I've got all of this color that I can pop into collages. That's where I'm headed with this whole video. Sorry guys, this video may not make a whole lot of sense to most of you. But I'm trying to get to a place where I am using what I'm bringing in. And to do that, I need to go ahead and get accomplished. Now that might make a pretty envelope. I kind of like this rose, but I know that it's awful big, and I probably will use this one as an envelope. Oh, but see here we have 3 really pretty images. And let's go ahead and get this off of here. I'll throw that in for collage fodder. Oh, that's a really pretty image. So is that. It's way too big. Way too big. But it might make a pretty background for something. It'd make a pretty background on a postcard or something like that. So, you know, that's something I'll have to think about. Since I really like it, I'll probably keep the image. I probably won't turn it into an envelope. I'll probably keep that image. And we have more. Now, these pages could also be turned into envelopes. They're just kind of blank papers, and then they could be collaged on or painted on, or all that kind of thing. Would be fun to maybe turn them into envelopes as well. So don't disregard them for that. So what kind of pages did we end up with? We ended up with pages that don't have images on them that I'm interested in, but yet could be used as collage background paper, just collage fodder kind of thing. They could be turned into envelopes, but another really good thing to do with this kind of a page is to turn it into jelly plate painty papers. These work great for painty papers. So I'll be putting together a pile of that for painty paper. I actually keep a big box over there. It's papers that either I drew on and it's not exciting, or I took out of a magazine, or I've already started painting but they're not finished, that kind of thing. Those are painty papers over there, and this will make perfect painty papers. We have some images that are going to be saved because they might make a fun background for something. We have images that we'll dissect and use this way. We have smaller images that we really like. that will be used as collage pieces. And I may cut out some of my favorites. What I may do is on like this page, I really love this. These images on this side are not as interesting to me as these images. So I'll probably do more, maybe fussy cut out some of these images. I'm trying to, like I said, get things organized enough that things get used. I love these two images, so I will probably go ahead and try to get them at least torn out so that they're the ones that I save and see first. We have images that I'm probably going to turn into envelopes, simply because they don't excite me, but they're really fun images. They aren't something I can see myself using as an image, but using it as an envelope will be fun. So there's that. There's pieces of images that I'm probably going to use in collage for the color of it. Not for the image of it, but for the color of it. And I'm probably going to sort these out in that manner. I have pieces of background paper for collage. I have actual images. Let's move some of these. And I'm going to have to sit here and rip these down, because I am not going to keep all of this with this anymore. I need to get the images separate from this stuff. These are smaller images that I will use either in collage or I'd like to do a couple of vintage junk journals. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and these will be beautiful images in those books. And that's another envelope. I have some little itty bitty envelope, or little itty bitty images. I love this graph type stuff for backgrounds in collage. There's these pieces which we'll use for backgrounds in collage. Some of this I'm going to coffee dye. Oops, not that. There's no reason you couldn't coffee dye this. It should coffee dye just fine. The sheet I coffee dyed already. Where'd it go? It didn't have a picture on it, so don't pick your favorite image to test. Ink is different in every book. When you test a page out of a book, understand that the ink that did this is not necessarily the ink that did this. So you will want to test an image that, but you should be able to coffee dye the images as well as, and I might do some of these images that I just love. Where'd they go? The ones I bought the book for. These images. I may try one of these images to see how they coffee dye, because I think that would be fun to have too. So if I do, I won't do them all, because I want some of both in my grab bag of stuff to do. But coffee dyeing the pages really does make fun. Okay. We have definite pages that we'll paint on, because even as a background, that one wouldn't excite me. We got the end papers that came out of the book, and those are gorgeous colors papers. And these books have all different colors of end paper in them. So I will have several different colored sheets when I get these taken apart. And like I said, I'm not going to sit and take them all apart right this minute, but I am going to take several of them apart just to start using them, to start getting them used. The cover of the book, like I said, I think I'm thinking about using the decorative covers a couple of them to make a big book. And it's probably going to be like a big blank journal. I kind of have an idea for it that I want to try. And I'm thinking about a Coptic bound journal so that it'll lay flat, but with some different kinds of papers in it, so that it has, so that the signatures have different papers within it. That's my idea at the moment. We'll find out how that goes. And then this back cover, like I said, book cardboard is always good for all kinds of things, and you can cut it. But a box knife really, it makes it easier to cut. And make sure that you use a straight edge, because you have to make multiple cuts. And I hope that gave you some ideas. This might be something that you've all thought of already. I just really, I wanted to do it for myself too. So this video is not just for you, it's also for me. How about that? I'm selfish that way. Anyways, guys, let me read you a quote from our 1001 Ways to Creativity, and go see what else we can accomplish today. Don't let routine become part of your problem. Vary where and when you work, especially if your creative juices are not flowing. Okay, don't let routine become part of your problem. Vary where and when you work, especially if your creative juices are not flowing. Okay. That is interesting. Anyways, guys, go have fun. Make some art. Bye-bye.